We're ready.
Okay. I'm going to bring the meeting of February 23rd to order and let the record show that Selectman Boudreau and Selectman Constantino are not with us tonight. Well, I don't think we have any public input, so
Anybody?
shall we work on approving the minutes of December 22nd, 2011? Make a motion, we bring them to the floor for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Did Dennis ever fix those fishing pier railings?
No, that's something we'll do.
Spring.
He will look at it in the spring.
This kind of is spring, isn't it?
I know.
Not tomorrow, but
Isn't it funky?
It is.
does Panulo have two ends, you think?
Yes, I believe it does.
I'd have to look to be sure, but I think it does.
I just spotted a little one right on the very front page. Maybe she was saying this, but it's where Chair Constantino is reading a letter of thanks. So it starts out, I would like to thank, well, the next line down it says, year has been net. Shouldn't that be met?
Joyce, where are we with the sewer pump stations being listed on the town's property schedule?
The ones that Joanne had given me dollar values for have been added. I sent the information to LGC for the others, and she said that she has to have dollar values. So I spoke with Joanna, and she said she would speak with the sewer commissioners about setting those, because I don't know what values to set. They
Okay.
have the information, but they don't have the dollar values.
So how many pump stations are we talking that are not on there?
No, there's 11 total. They have the names of all the 11, but they can't enter them unless they have values. I have values for 4 of them, but the values are so much that, like, one of them, they have $170,000. So if...
On a pump station? Wow.
So, because
Those
we pay
new ones on River
63
Road.
cents per thousand, it's up to the sewer commissioners to set those values, not me.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, they need to set the values.
But, you know, we are covered, they have the information, it's just that they acknowledge that we want to add them to our schedule, but they can't physically enter them.
Okay.
unless they have a value.
They met Tuesday night, right?
Page 4. Second paragraph, next to last line. After discussion, Chair Constantino made a motion to sign the contract for the Lakes Region Planning Commission and to encumber the funds for the highway impact fee.
Okay.
On page 7, very near the top, starts Selectman Dawson. Assets is the word out in margin. Where these pumping stations shown as assets, I think it should be were question mark. If Tim has the pumping stations and the fixed assets, wouldn't he have to have prices attached to them?
I believe so.
Couldn't we use those?
I would still be up to the sewer commissioners, but in the meantime,
Just so we can get them on there?
Oh, on page 5, the whole section there, where it starts with Chief Cormier discussing, nowhere in here, because it does come down here, and we do show the Chair Constantino made a motion to purchase the vehicle from AutoServe, but nowhere in here does it say that he brought in, different bids on selling us the car. You could just add a line there so people just didn't arbitrarily think we're using AutoServe for the sake of using AutoServe.
Good catch.
After seriously considering all submitted bids, right?
Is there something here that I missed?
No, because no one mentioned anything about the other bids that came in.
Oh, well, we did have bids.
You know what, we probably didn't even talk about them, we
I
looked at
know,
them.
we looked at all of them, but if you just say after considering all the bids.
right, because we never got copies.
We
of
never,
any of those.
I
Didn't we send you to the ESP class, Catherine?
Yes. Okay, well, we'll have to get the chief to bring them back down because,
give me that information, I'll be happy to put it in.
okay,
Okay, so
yep.
We didn't ask for public input yet. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of December 22nd, 2011 as amended.
Second.
Would you contact the chief, Joyce, and just tell him that we need copies of those? Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of December 22nd, 2011 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I just have one thing to say. I want to give my heartfelt thanks to Catherine Rosner. I had an opportunity to sit, I was looking for something on a tape and I was listening to one of the tapes, and we are doing her a great injustice. That noise you're making right there, when it's so close to the microphone, she can't hear what we're talking about when that noise is going on. Maybe if we could just move our candy down or a little, at least away from the microphones, because there's areas I'm listening, I'm going, what? What? You know, because you can't hear. You know, because of the crinkle or the so if we maybe just think about it a little bit and turn our heads or, you know, push our mics away or something.
We can work that out, huh, Catherine?
Well, she still has to be able to hear us talking.
Oh, shucks.
But it's just the idea that maybe if we're a little bit more mindful of what we're doing, and, you know, the one part that I was listening to, there were 3 or 4 of us all talking at the same time. I said, forget it, I have no idea what we were saying. So if we could just, you know, keep that in mind and give her a lot of credit, because I don't know how she comes out with as much as she does with all the noise going on. Okay, so we've got that done. I'm sitting here waiting for somebody else to do something. All right, so I guess it's the town administrator. It's your turn.
I'll do the easiest one first. I did call Brad Ober. He wasn't in. He was at a training, and I left a message telling him that the board had reviewed his request for additional parking, and the board had discussed it, that they had denied the request for the additional spaces, but they really would like to talk to him to explain the parking situation. And I asked him to call me back so we could arrange a time, and I haven't heard from him. But just so you know, in your in the selectman's office, in that lateral file drawer, I have set up a separate folder for the Tilton Northfield Fire Department parking. And then one thing I like to do at the end of each year, which I'm kind of behind, but on the important issues that just carry through year after year after year, such as the parking, I do have all the minutes pertaining to our parking ordinance, and I made a little index, and they're all right here, and they'll be with this, so then when the question comes up, when did we make that change to
That's great.
do thus or such? It's right there, so we're up to date. Primarily I want it because we've amended our ordinance twice, so that's what I want to,
Nice job.
so that will be.
Very nice.
And if you're ever looking for the history on with the fire department parking, that's got its own file. So that was kind of one of the things that at year end we like to do. I'm all set with Bernie and Dennis on moving the supervisors, the checklist file cabinet back downstairs in that corner. Bernie and I have worked it out where he gives me his schedule for when they have their checklist sessions, because I can, either myself or Catherine Wisner can enter them directly onto the calendar, so that when we see that there may be a conflict, right now there's one on September 4th that I need to notify the Parks Commission that if they could meet upstairs on September 4th. So hopefully that will be
So they'll have
settled.
smooth sailing? I mean, and that night should be fine.
Right.
So they have smooth sailing the rest of the year.
but nothing else. And then I've got to remind...
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I keep reminding committees as I think of it, that they've, especially chat and recycling, that to let us know when you're having meetings so that we can, because we do have outside organizations that do use the town hall during the day, so we want to be able to accommodate everybody. So, and again, it's Catherine or myself can schedule that. Okay, the Milford Trust deed, I spoke with Scott, and I kept checking my email. I'll check it again before I leave. The deed reference, he had some questions, and Sandy helped me square this away. The tax collector deed was making reference to 134 Sanborn Road for both parcels. The tax card says Meadows Drive. These are, they're lots of record because they appear on a subdivision plat, but they can't be conveyed because the road wasn't constructed. So it's a paper street. The paper street is Meadows Drive. We confirmed that on the recorded plan. So we talked a little bit, so he was redoing the descriptions because when you're doing a title search, you want to be consistent. So to explain why what we're conveying back as a different address.
So what did the deed has Meadow Drive?
This collector's deed says 134 Sanborn Road.
The tax collector's deed, but what did the actual deed to the property say?
It wasn't, no, they haven't been conveyed. It's a subdivision that
Right,
hasn't
but there
been-
was a deed to the property before the tax collector got involved.
It makes reference to the Sanborn Meadows subdivision.
Okay.
So it could go either way.
No,
Sanborn Meadows, I mean,
It's only on...
that's
paper.
just describing a subdivision.
If you go out there, there's no road, it's just a big feet. They never went forward.
Yeah, it would be hard to even find it.
Right.
So he's putting in the references Meadows Drive, I believe is what it says on the plat,
Right.
off of Sanborn Road, and in parentheses, New Hampshire Route 132.
How does our tax collector create these deeds when she takes a property?
I don't know.
Or he?
It's entered into the assessing system, and when we went back and looked, all of the avatars say Meadows Road, but the one from Vision said one, and that was hard-coded into their, when they were doing their assessment update.
So we really should give Cindy an update so she can change that address and get it out of her records.
Yeah, but her records would be the same as that what we have.
Then where did she get the 134? Unless it's in 911.
Well, and I'm just bringing it up because considering what we're going through
Yes.
Right.
with this
Well, I was
property
just
down
thinking.
here,
Right.
here we are.
Well, they are lots of record.
Right, but I
Lots
mean,
of record.
it just shows us how careful we have to be.
In doing tax deeds. So I'll check my computer again, but if I could at least get your signatures today, and then I'll have to get the other signatures next week, because I haven't deposited their check yet. They're certified bank checks.
Yep.
And I had told them I wouldn't deposit them until I had the signed deed. The ad for 29 Beach Street, Scott McGuffin had reviewed it, and he's fine with it. And if you folks are,
I saw the auction sign out.
yeah.
At first, I thought this old Fluffies was going up for about 2 seconds, and I realized.
I apologize, this isn't the ad. These are the auction sale terms and conditions.
Right.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said ad. So, Catherine, it's the auction terms and conditions he wants to have the board approve. And then the ad will give the who, what, where, when, and the time.
Have we seen this? It looks familiar.
yeah, we've seen that.
That would have been sent to you because it was emailed to me.
Yeah.
I got another call today from an interested person, and I
Do you want us to initial this, or just?
just approved it so he can go ahead and publish that.
Oh, I have one.
So if this is okay, he's ready to.
Publish away.
Yes. Publish it away.
Didn't do. Let's see. Here are the two tax collectors' warrants. One is for collecting sewer expenses, and I did put the IRSA on it, just so we know if somebody wants to go back and look at that. There's that one. And the other one is the
Nice.
Mill Knoll property on West Main Street. they file annually for the low-income housing tax credit program. They didn't do a filing for 2011, and since that time, they have transferred the property to Tilton Affordable Housing. Lauren went back, she got in touch with them and said, you need to file your information, which they did, and she was able to calculate that they will owe us an additional $1,073. This is her letter, and so this is a warrant to collect that additional amount, and this is a property tax warrant.
Yes. Do we sign this?
Yeah.
Love it.
This application for an abatement for the sewer, do we just sign this because
I haven't seen it.
we're authorizing it to be paid? I noticed the sewer commissioner signed it.
I think from Cindy, she said the sewer commissioner signed it. What about the sign?
Right. I don't know, that's why I'm asking, unless it's just to authorize the check to be written.
Well, I think what it is, it's for 2011, so we must have purchased the past due amounts, so that the town is collecting that money now.
Oh,
So then, because it's saying billing period requested for 2011. But isn't there still a minimum charge?
well, I'm asking you, there's only two things in here, there's no instructions that came with it.
And it would be helpful if we had the actual bill.
Yes. So maybe we better hold off on that.
You know, how
move
much
and-
did Cindy purchase?
Yeah, we don't know any of that, so why don't we just
Because it
maybe,
comes off Cindy's receivables. You know, when at the end of the year, the town cuts a check to Cindy buying the past due sewer amounts, and then, so we put them on our tax collector's books, and then when Cindy does her property tax liens, she records it as a sewer lien.
Where did this come from?
I don't know, it was just in the QBC.
it was in here.
So, it's not signed by, it's signed by Peter Fogg.
Catherine said Cindy gave it to her.
It's signed by the sewer commissioners. At least two of them are on here. Oh, it looks like Jason White over there.
Okay, what we need from Cindy is a printout like she does with all of our abatements.
Right.
On exactly what it is she's showing on her books.
Right.
We are requesting an abatement for sewer rent. Sewer rent. What is sewer rent?
I don't know.
Is this a request from the betterment? Or is this a request from, they were
These are-
charged a sewer fee?
They were charged sewer and water. And they're saying that they didn't use anything, nothing's hooked up. But that doesn't, you still have like a minimum charge for water, whether you use it or not, or the same with sewer. We didn't purchase any water.
If there's a bet, they charge them for
It's
sewer,
not a
is it a
betterment.
betterment? No.
It's not a betterment.
So this is from the sewer commissioners telling us to pay this person $52.48.
Well, that's what it appears to be, but they didn't give us
Why would
anything.
we pay?
Because we purchase the past due bills. Then we collect the payments, and then what people don't pay us, then Cindy does it as a lien. So you'd get a lien on property, betterment, and then
I don't
on sewer.
understand
I think
why
we
the
have
town of
missing
Tilton is
information.
purchasing the town of Tilton's bills.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
The sewer bills, because the sewer commissioners can't lien it. You can lien properties for non-payment of sewer bills.
The sewer commissioners,
We need more information.
the sewer commissioners have all the authority as the board of selectmen as it
I didn't
pertains
have
to
an
sewer.
opportunity to look through that
Okay,
before I
well,
came in.
Yeah, all right, well, I put it back in there.
The other thing is, last week, the board had asked me to forward that information about that property that was for sale to the Conservation Commission, so that's been done. That's been done. The Catherine, you had talked with Mike Yazard about the Route 140 corridor study.
Well, he was filling me in about it.
So this is something that, and he called again today asking, it says, the Lakes Region Planning Commission seeks community support to create a local advisory working group for the development of a New Hampshire Route 140 corridor study. Based on recommendations in the Regional Transportation Plan, it has been established that New Hampshire Route 140 is a primary corridor of critical importance to the region. The purpose of the study is to gain an understanding of current and future development impacts, safety needs, and capacity preservation needs. Components of the study include past studies review an existing conditions inventory to include volume and turning movement, traffic counts, accident data, existing land use, zoning, etc., traffic projections within the corridor, preliminary conceptual designs for safety improvements, and recommendations. It is anticipated that the study will last 12 to 16 months and require approximately 4 meetings and time to review study drafts and recommendations. Ideally, candidates for the LAWG include a representative from the Board of Selectmen, Planning Board, Lakes Region Transportation, Technical Advisory Committee, municipal staff member, and a property owner or local business owner. The goal is for a well-rounded group with 3 to 4 participants from each community. The targeted time frame for kickoff meeting is the week of March 26th to 30th. A form is attached to provide contact information for locally appointed working group representatives and identification of a preferred date and time for the kickoff meeting. Please respond by March 15th. And so since a portion of Route 140 is in Tilton, they wanted to make sure that Tilton was included besides Belmont and Northfield.
They weren't going to include Tilton until I talked
in Gilmanton.
until I talked to him at the TAC meeting, until I explained to him.
Why wouldn't they include Tilton?
Because it was only
The
very,
end point.
it was only a very small portion of it in Tilton. They didn't.
So that means we have no interest in...
Well, they didn't really think about the impact to Tilton. I think they really thought of it as an eastern corridor and not western. And then even if it is just an eastern corridor, that traffic has to come, and this is what I said to him, has to get off the highway in Tilton to access it. So he was very receptive, so, and I told, I'd be on that committee.
Well, now you're our TAC representative.
I'm the TAC.
So we need a selectman, planning board, and a staff member. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I'll bring it up at
Planning board?
planning board meeting.
And since you're both a selectman and, you're not planning board anymore, are you?
No, but I'm
Oh, but
TAC.
you're a selectman.
I'm TAC and selectman, so maybe
Okay,
that covers that too.
And I'll be more than happy to be the staff member because there've been a lot of studies done on that I'm familiar with for the east-west corridor.
Valuable asset.
Perfect.
And and it'll give me a chance to kind of stay in touch with Belmont and Northfield. So what they ask is, do you have a copy of this? That if you could take that to the planning board and ask them, whoever it is, if they could put down.
I'll get a copy from you.
Oh, you can take that.
Are you sure? Okay.
Or the chairman's here, we can give it to the chairman. Okay, and then our, as you know, the local government center, our insurance, they pay a company to go and inspect all of the boilers of all their members. And in Tilton, we have 3. The one at the Grange is forced hot air, correct? That's not hot water, correct?
Yeah,
Hot air.
now.
It's hot air, it's not forced hot water, okay. So they did their annual inspection, and they had some recommendations, and so I called Jason. These are considered maintenance items, regular maintenance items, that the safety valve was seeping a little bit, but because it's being inspected by our insurance company, we have to replace it. So he was here today, and he still needs to get the plastic cover. Is that what you said, Catherine? For the thermostat. But he said the parts are minimal, it's just labor. And how long was he here this morning, Catherine?
He was here for maybe a half hour in the morning, and then in the afternoon he was here maybe an hour.
Okay, so an hour and a half.
$1,000.
Oh, less than that. And also, I may have told a couple of you, but
Just those.
our sink in the employee restroom has been leaking. It leaks off and on, and Al will go in there and tighten what he can, but he tried to this time, and he just said, no, you need to start replacing parts. So, and there was quite a bit of water on the floor, so we did go ahead and call Robert Bell, he's the plumber that we used to winterize 29 Beach Street. He came right over, and he was here, 15 minutes? And he fixed it, so he put in new parts.
Put in new guts.
Put in new guts. This was in the sink. Okay, I did that. The information that you wanted me to send to Attorney Puffer, I was able to obtain, and that has been sent to him.
Oh, the information
The information.
concerning, you can't say.
I can't say.
Okay.
There was a request at your last meeting to have that, because I wasn't here for that portion of it. And then this all came in yesterday. This is, I didn't even have time to put it in the legal file, but just if you want to, we do have good news that our Board of Tax and Land Appeal from XLV, Tilton Resorts, for 2010 taxes, that's Anchorage, they withdrew. So that's good news. And this just gives you some updates on some other, so if you want to, I don't have these in an envelope, they just went.
They withdrew. Huh. Huh.
61
I'm going
Business
to pay them, but they're not going to fight them either.
61 Business Park Drive. Joe, under your selectmen's reports, I'm sure you'll talk about
I
that.
am.
But I just wanted you to know that I still haven't paid the invoice to the consultant because I'm still waiting for a final corrected copy of the agreement that we had, of his report.
job.
And I've reminded him a couple times, and I called him again yesterday. I still haven't received anything, so as soon as we get that final cleaned up copy, Attorney Rannigan will send it to the contractor, and then from there we'll clarify dates and times and exactly what will be done in accordance with that report. Okay?
Where are we with our engineer for Pine Street Bridge?
They have not heard.
Haven't got that check yet?
And have they billed us?
No, they have not.
Good thing.
They have not.
We'll have to decide what we're going to do, if we're just going to leave that hang in limbo.
Then the other thing I have is, and Joe will help me out on this, we went to the school district public hearing on the budget. It was the school board and the, I'll give this to Catherine. Do you have yours? You want it first?
I don't have mine right in front of me.
One of the things that had come up at the Finance Committee meeting the night before, which I didn't go to, I'd been to a previous Finance Committee meeting, and the school board had brought up questions concerning why wasn't it dealing with replacement, why the UST agreement didn't have replacement in it. And so we went last night, and that was raised again at the hearing, and then afterwards I went to the school board portion of that meeting and asked them, what do you want to do? Were you planning on amending your warrant article, or can we just amend the agreement? And they said just amend the agreement. And I explained that
That
we
might
already
create a
had.
problem across the river. I spoke with Glenn Smith today, and this is the first he's heard about it. So whether he's already got stuff printed, or they've already sent their town report out and with the other language, and
That's
does
fine.
it make any difference? And I don't.
It wouldn't make any difference.
I said, no, I don't think it'll make any difference, Glenn. He says, I think it might. So him and Cheryl are going to talk and try to resolve it. Quite frankly, I don't think that we have any business imposing, or even considering imposing our will on people 20 years from now that are going to have to make these
Right.
decisions.
Right.
And they can still use that money and amend this agreement anywhere along the way to reflect replacement if that's what they decide to do.
Right, but the whole reason that replacement was taken out, because that had always been in there, was that the warrant article that the school district attorney wrote, and
Right.
which we modified to meet for each district, didn't have the word replacement in it. So we took it out just to be consistent. So, I mean, we don't have a problem with it. If the school district, what I'm hearing, oh, he's in the, So if the school district wants it in there, then this new committee, they can put it in there.
Well, I mean, it was a case of, we just did it because that's what their attorney did.
And that was explained to them. So
Okay.
they want, it's their position, and they're one of the major users, that they would like to have reference in the agreement where there is mention of replacement. We say in there that as of right now, we're not considering replacement, but we can put in there, well, we can consider replacement, which you can, as the oversight committee, you can consider whatever you want and bring it to your governing bodies and do what you want.
Right.
So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then Dan Crean, I don't know if you had a chance to these were his comments on the agreement that I sent him without the replacement amendment.
Oh, look at this.
And that can go to. And then these are my responses. And I told him I would give this to the selectmen this evening, and then call him tomorrow to see, and I sent this to him, to see what the selectmen have to say and where we go from here. I had already sent you a copy of what I had sent him.
Right.
So I didn't, I mean, I have that here if you want that.
I was going to say that you're talking the UST agreement, right?
Yeah, where I, tried to make as succinct as possible,
Right, yes.
because it is convoluted. One of the questions that came up at the public hearing, there were very few people there, but they all sounded like they were in support of it. One person raised the concern of how to get the two-thirds vote at the school district meeting, whereas all the other jurisdictions are just doing simple majority. And I said that when it's presented at each of those jurisdictions, who's ever presenting it has to make known to their body that you really need to go to the school district meeting.
I don't understand why the school district is insisting on it.
Well, it's their
They've got
legal
this
counsel.
lawyer who says that that's the way they should go, so they've got this idea in their head.
Well, I certainly hope so, because we had so few Tilton residents there last year.
So few residents of all geographical persuasions.
Well, that is correct, but it was really, we were even shorter than normal. I mean, I guess if you have 10 people there, if you get two-thirds of those that vote yes, then you've got...
Who is presenting it to the body?
At the school district meeting, it would be Cheryl is the one that's presenting it.
Last night in that budgetary meeting, it took about 2 minutes to explain it, and they moved right along. I mean, these are people that were going after $10,000 for this and cutting $2,000 out of here and explaining the percentages and whatever, and it's like, we save money, we've kind of got an agreement formalizing what we really need to do this, move on, everybody approved. Ta-da! Which
It would
is,
be nice if it would go that way, but it could go either way.
it can go either way, but I should certainly hope that there will be enough people there to speak to the logic to this. I mean, the savings that we're incurring here for our town, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well,
I
maybe
think what they need to understand is, it's nothing new.
Right.
This is an agreement that's been in existence
That's
for
part of it as well,
years,
yes.
and all we're doing is formalizing it.
On a
And we're
handshake.
just, which is like,
Is it proper for us to bring it up at our own town meeting?
It's on our warrant.
Oh, good. So then we could discuss it. And-
We can, well, somebody will have to make a presentation and move the warrant article forward.
But I
So you
mean,
can move that one, and then if there's questions.
If it, well, we'll wait till we have a full board to decide who does what, but I would be happy, and I have a fairly good working knowledge of the situation, and I'm all for it. I mean, it does nothing but make sense to me.
right,
I mean, I almost think that it'd be really great for the presenter not to talk very much about it.
Right.
To make it almost a house, because it really is, it's a housekeeping issue.
Right.
This agreement has been in place, we have
Trust me, this is
formalized
not going to
it.
go on and on.
Well, I remember when they voted out the fire hydrants one year, so that really kind of sticks in my craw. I was like, what?
yeah.
So
Well,
they do bizarre
right.
things.
I mean, I think it's good if people have suggestions for the agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We should listen to that, but we can't change the agreement now because it's the oversight committee.
Right,
I think if they have suggestions, they should simply be,
Come to a meeting.
come to a meeting.
yeah,
Please come to a meeting and make sure the meeting is noticed on all the websites.
right.
Get people involved, but, well, we'll
I
see.
really don't
We'll
think,
see.
when they realize how much money they're saving as a result of this, and the fact that we're paying as we go for the cleanup, repairs, and so forth associated with the tank, and still saving upwards of 50 cents a gallon, ta-da!
I wonder if you could come up with an estimated savings.
I'm going to get to how much we spent on gasoline and how much the town and school district spent on specifically, because we paid 40% of that or whatever, 30.76
Yeah, we have all that.
percent of that, and tell exactly how much we've saved on it in a year and in the last 5 years, and at that rate, we will save this much in the next 5 years.
And we would like to continue on with the agreement. It's all on how you present
Yeah,
it.
the other thing that Cheryl had mentioned, which we have a tendency to forget, that the convenience of it for all these school buses, trucks, police cars, that, time is money.
Right.
And even like with the computer, like if your computer's down for like 10 minutes or so, if you were to add up all that time that you weren't productive, it's the same thing with, you're burning gas, and so
Oh,
it's just the
absolutely.
convenience of it has a
Right.
Well-
tremendous value.
I wouldn't work with our PD because it's far more convenient and timely if they used one of the local gas stations rather than drive all the way to the end of Pike
At the
Street.
rate that they put miles on those cars, 50 cents a gallon adds up to serious savings.
That's why it's cheaper if they go to the nearest gas station rather than going to Park Street.
Why?
Well,
50
it'd be
cents a
more.
gallon?
No, it's not the time. We're
Oh,
not
I see.
saving time.
No.
Right.
For the town of Tilton, we're saving dollars.
Oh, no, that's what I'm trying to say.
Time works
It's all
in
about the bucks.
Northfield because,
Right, they're right there.
but for Tilton, it's the dollars. We
Oh,
have
absolutely.
saved money over
Yep.
the years we've been involved in this agreement.
Right.
Hands down.
Period.
Saved you tax dollars.
And now we
There you go.
legally have our responsibilities defined,
Right.
and everybody involved has their responsibilities defined. Heaven forbid we should have a catastrophic event, but everybody knows where they stand. Before, it was just kind of like, well, you said, and he said, and it's like, well, I never agreed to that. I mean, this could be a horror show. So nobody wants to see that happen. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It'll be short, sweet, succinct, and be based on money.
That's perfect. So I just wanted to be clear, and because my representation to the school board is if they did want to have replacement in there, that I didn't feel that the Tilton Selectmen would object to having that in the agreement.
No,
So,
I don't,
Yeah, I mean, and they fully understand we're not the ones that took it out either.
yes, that was made clear.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see. One thing I was thinking of doing is maybe I might speak individually to some members of the Northfield Budget Committee on my own time, just to make sure that they have,
As a resident and a
as
taxpayer.
a resident, as a taxpayer, just to make sure that they're aware. I'm a little nervous about
They are?
I am a little nervous.
Sometimes people
Thank
don't
you for
stay
doing
as
that.
informed as they should. I mean, here we have a couple people sitting on that committee and know the details, but maybe their budget committee, finance committee doesn't have that information. It's a good idea to make sure they got it.
Sure.
So that's all I have unless you have things for me. What I'd like to do, because I stayed home this morning. I did work at home, started at noon.
Yeah.
I worked and then I got in the office about 3. Is I'd like to go down, just do some stuff in the office. I'll check on this deed and then if I could just be excused.
I know, you gave us this stuff from Dan Crean with the back and forth. You said you were going to call him tomorrow.
Yeah, so, but I
Jim?
can hold off to call them if
Well-
you guys want to read, because you haven't had a chance to read it. If there's anything in addition that you want.
But this is, from what I'm seeing, it's changing the agreement, which doesn't need to take place before town meeting.
Correct.
This is, it's his suggestions that I think should, I mean,
And there's good suggestions.
I think he has
Yeah.
valid points.
Yes.
And then my feeling is, it's just whoever the committee is should see them.
Right.
Right.
I
I
don't think
agree.
it's something for the Board of Selectmen to act on, except to say, I agree.
Yeah.
He was confused a little bit about, because he had said in there, well, why do you have a capital reserve fund and a special revenue fund? You should have a revolving fund. So I wanted to explain to him why we couldn't have a revolving fund and why we couldn't use the capital reserve fund
Right.
because of Sanborn. Because Sanborn isn't a member of the agreement. And the only way we could get into one fund would be the school would have to also be purchasing the gasoline. The thing that's still a little unclear for me, though, is that in there we have that the surcharges, the collection of the surcharges is suspended. The billing isn't suspended, but the collection is suspended because it doesn't affect us anyway because we're holding on to ours for that. But once this is ratified and once the agreement's signed and once the account is open,
July 1st.
then we can put our money in there and then the school will start billing and then,
The reason they suspended the collection was because the language in the agreement states that if you don't pay,
You're out.
you don't play. And so we suspended the actual collections in the shortest of terms for
so.
that reason.
And then the other thing that Dan had questioned was, how are you going to close out these accounts? And it wasn't fully explained in the agreement. And I just explained to him that, no, we'll have all the proper warrant articles next year.
Right.
It's going to be guided by DRA.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, we're
And
not
the
going to have a
agreement-
choice.
And the agreement mentions that these accounts will be closed.
Right.
But we just couldn't,
I think
Do
the
it this year.
agreement clearly shows where the money goes.
Right.
Which is ultimately the only thing it can do.
Right.
The closing is guided by others beyond our control.
and right now, we can't close, we can't take any money out of the special revenue fund in Northfield because that requires their town meeting vote, and also that money can only be used for replacement. So we're not going to be replacing that between now and July 1st. And then in the capital reserve fund, money can be withdrawn, but it can wait until July.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So,
Nice job.
all right, well, I hope it goes well, because a lot of people put a lot of time into this to make it work, and
And it's a worthwhile thing.
I have yet to speak with one individual, not a one, in any of the jurisdictions that had anything negative to say about it.
Right. Well, I think we all tend to agree. It's been there all along, it's just that now we have an agreement to go with it.
You know what? When this is actually signed, we'll be the only communities in the state entered into this sort of agreement. It just seems, and there's several other communities apparently that are looking to the completion of this with an idea of moving forward on their own. It just makes perfectly good sense to buy it in bulk.
You know what's sad, though? It brings us really out of the era of handshake agreements, when that's how things were done. It was a gentleman's agreement,
Yep.
the full understanding, and nothing was written down,
Right.
and everybody held to it. And in all practicality, you just can't do that in today's world, which is
No.
unfortunate.
Well, they agreed to this, what,
Parties change.
15 years ago or so? People have all changed. What was the agreement? What did they actually agree to when they shook
Right.
hands? Who knows?
Yeah, but those agreements stood for generations.
In the old days, your word was your bond. Anymore, that's not true.
I know, isn't that sad?
Oh,
Kinda, it is.
I just wanted to fill everybody in. You will notice on the payroll, the payment register, these are all Visa bills, and this last one you'll notice is higher. That is, remember when we discussed with Tim that he could go out and purchase those computer items? Well, that's why that is higher. So, and he said, do I need to put a note with this, that they gave me permission to do? I said, I'll let him know.
So he doesn't have an invoice in there for it?
Oh, yes, everything's in here, but just, you might see that amount and say, what's going on? But it's all, no, it's all in here.
Oh.
Okay? I'm just giving you the explanation he gave me. So,
There's anything,
no, I didn't see anything.
and these are just the, so all we're doing is the ACH payment system.
Oh, you have this one too.
Oh, okay.
All right, Joe, do you want to give us yours?
I would love to, as a matter of fact. First off is yesterday, I spent 4.5 hours at Business Park Drive. A lovely building. Used to be a police station. No, that's not right. Sorry. The issue that was being worked on by Mr. Aho's crew has been rectified.
Wonderful.
The area along the bottom 3 feet, 4 feet, or whatever it was that had the issue, they used the proper, I looked at the bottles, I watched them, I talked to them, I left them alone, and they cleaned it. It's not white, but there's some discoloration, but the mold is gone. So it was stated to me by the workers that they had plans to come back in the spring and seal the outside walls and
Right.
scrape and repaint, and I don't know if we have a legal agreement to that effect. It was more like a handshake. But that's in the offing, and that part, the mold part's been taken care of.
Terrific.
Yes, indeed. And now, we had a recycle committee meeting. We're going to have a yard sale day this year. I believe the date involved is, I want to say, the 28th. I didn't write it down. It's just before the weekend before the annual townwide yard cleanup,
Okay.
which that information can be found on your local Tilton, New Hampshire website, Town of Tilton. And we're also going to be involved in the take-back of the medical prescriptions and what have you.
Terrific.
And we're going to be giving away blue bags at the town meeting in order to help facilitate townwide cleanup. You can go along your street and pick up the stuff and put it out with the rest of your regular trash, or hopefully you're recycling all of those cans that they throw out the window.
Right.
And, but news will be forthcoming on that. I went to a school budget warrant article meeting last night. The school budget is in excess of $23 million, which is less than the $24 million that the school board wanted. Our student population has actually increased a little bit, not so much at the high school level, but at the middle school level. Trends are hard to discern because it really depends on what happens with the population. It goes up and down in school-age children, and do we have any multifamily housing things going in or what have you. Especially through this board and the process of developing the budget for the town, I've come to appreciate the budget committee's role in all of this, and really got to hand it to the individuals on the school budget committee for, in spite of the $23 million number, they really did work really hard on this, and you have copies of the proposed budget in front of you that will explain the specifics. I attended a meeting today of the consortium MetroCast. I handed out last week a copy of the agreement between, or the proposed agreement, the first shot across the bow, as it were. We sat there for 3 hours, got halfway through it, tearing that apart and adding things, and then the lawyer was there. This copy right here has changes and omissions and additions to it that the Chiandella people put in, as well as other things that we discussed to add to it as well. And there'll be a new and improved version next month, no doubt. But this is, here, I'll pass this that way for now, and that'll be in the downstairs folder for MetroCast, or the consortium process. And that pretty much takes care of my report, unless there are any questions.
No? Thank you. Catherine, do you have anything tonight?
No, just this, not this week.
Okay, no, and I'm going to save mine. I'm in the middle of doing things, so it wouldn't make much sense for me to talk about anything right now. Okay, under old business, how about police renovations? How's that coming, Chief?
Good. They delivered the sheetrock today. I think they're going to start to hang that up tomorrow.
Cool.
Merrick moved. There was a couple fire alarm items that had to be moved with the new wall. Took care of that. He's also going to make sure everything has smoke detectors wired, and it all wires into that new access control system. That's what's beauty about that ALC, is it manages not only security but fire alarm too.
Yep.
And we had the company that put the sprinklers in the building come over because we have to move some heads, and they have to make sure there's a head in each room, and they're going to come in tomorrow. The estimate's between 500 and 1,000 to move everything, but it's kind of like we can't move forward with the construction unless they do it. And I think it makes the place, it obviously makes it safe and meet fire code.
Right.
And so, but everything seems to be on track. It's coming along. I think once the sheetrocker gets done, the next person that comes in is the floor guy to do the VCT flooring, and then we can start moving the lockers in, and almost should be in any day now because that toilet arrived, and
I was going to say, that's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah.
When is the anticipated installation date?
well, he was supposed to be in this week, so I called Matt on Wednesday to see if he could come in there tomorrow. So, I think over the next couple of weeks everything's going to start to happen quickly, but it's good.
So I guess all of the selectmen are going to line up to use this thing once it gets...
I really want, I think we should draw lots. I want to go first.
Well, I just really want to see a toilet. I mean, I never realized that
Oh, I
toilets
know.
could get so elaborate, but...
Should be pretty shiny, huh? Have you seen it? Or is it in a box?
No, I see it. It's in a box, but the box is open.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean,
Steve.
this should be done in a couple of weeks, and I'd like to either, have you guys come down before or after a meeting, or have your meeting there, or so you can see everything done.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else do you have anything else for the board that you want to talk about while you're here?
No, we're making a lot of progress in some recent investigations, that sort of thing. Everyone's busy, but everything's heading in the right direction with these investigations. So, we're doing good. I have one officer who's going to be going in for some surgery on the 16th. It's like a day surgery, but he'll be out March 16th. he'll be out for a week, and then when he comes back, he has to come back light duty for a couple weeks. But he's my evidence tech, so that's a perfect fit,
Right,
because I have a lot of work for him to do,
right.
light duty. So, other than that, everyone else is good and healthy and safe and happy, and we're doing good.
Good.
Couple colds around the building, like,
Well, it's been like a germ factory in here. It seems like people are dropping like
I
flies.
have two employees with no voice.
Well, I do too. I started this afternoon. I will,
Just trying to stay away from them.
yeah, and you've heard Joyce, I mean, she's, all right. We also have 307 Main Street. It's my understanding we have not heard anything on that. Catherine, do you think we could set up an appointment?
Well, I've talked on quite a few occasions with District 3, and in fact, this morning I put a phone call into both District 3 and the Traffic Bureau. You know, I really firmly believe, and I've said this a couple of times, it's not a state issue.
Even though it's a state road?
It's not a state issue. Only a very small part of it is, because they site planned when the tattoo parlor went in. It's a do-over. And on that site plan, as the planning board always does in their wisdom, you will comply with
Right.
state, federal, local. There was no compliance in an ingress and egress for the parking lot, whether it was through the town or through the
Right.
state. From talking with District 3, they researched it. There is no ingress and egress for them to come onto Route 311 from the parking lot, and we don't have one on file for the town.
Right.
So they're in non-compliance with their site plan.
So then it sounds like a
The parking in front of the store, my conversations with District 3, and now the state is, in order for them to get parking on Route 311 there on our main street, they have to come to the town first. The town actually makes the application to the state.
and that never happened.
That never happened. They came to the town, did not follow through, gave themselves parking, sent a letter to the state and said, here's my parking. It's my firm belief, and I'm going to follow through tomorrow so that I can make sure that District 3 and Traffic Bureau were all on the same page.
Right.
That really, I think the first step is for the town from land use to send the owner a letter, letting him know he's not in compliance with his site plan. These are the things he must do, and let him know that failure to follow through, the occupancy permit is pulled, and they're no longer able to engage in business until it is complied with.
Right.
The only part of this puzzle that I don't have is exactly what steps need to be taken precisely, because we don't have a form for parking.
Right.
What process does the state want us to take, and what form we need to get from the state to apply? I need to get that from Traffic Bureau.
Right.
So that's what I think needs to take place. I mean, there really isn't any, it's really a town issue, unless they want to have ingress and egress
Right.
from the parking lot onto Route 311.
Right.
Then they merely have to apply to District 3 for that.
Right.
Other than that, I think it's a town issue. So,
Maureen?
I mean, if everybody agrees, I'll continue to pursue that.
Oh, I think you should, because I think we all feel the same way, that we would like to see this thing resolved for everyone's benefit.
Do we have to come out of the gate threatening them? Or
No,
can we just give
I don't
them a
think it's-
courtesy call, look, this is the situation, and how are we gonna make compliance?
Well, no, we're not going to ask them how to make compliance. We're going to send them a letter like we would send everyone else.
Right.
Letting them know that they're in non-compliance of their site plan review because of, send them a copy of the site plan review, and they do need to know the consequences of not following through. They need to know that, because if they don't, we don't want it to be a surprise.
No,
So we just simply send them the pertinent information,
right,
just as we would anyone else.
right, that's correct. Okay, the only other thing we have on our list is town meeting, but considering we're kind of shorthanded tonight, I do know, I did speak with the chairman, and she's working on the selectmen's letter for the town report, and I haven't been able to talk to Norm. I was going to talk to him tonight. I don't know how he's coming along with the report on Vicky. And the other people, it's my understanding, have been notified that haven't turned in their report yet. So as far as who's going to do what and that, I think we should save that for next week when we hopefully have a full board again. Okay, I'd like to go through the FYI file. We have a note here saying that a resident has stopped in to complain that it's very difficult to walk across the walk from the town hall to the Big Apple. It goes on to say that the people are not stopping. I mean, there is a crosswalk out there. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. I guess that would fall on you, Chief.
No, the pedestrian signs go back out pretty soon. It sounds like we have one more snowfall coming in tomorrow maybe, but that's what I just got a text on. But
Oh, I know.
once that gets done, we'll put the signs back out, and soon the Explorers will be back out there again, and so we're kind of getting close to where we're able to do more out there.
Great.
But I'll remind the guys to keep an eye on it.
No one can make that traffic stop, and depending on what time of day
Great.
that took place, unfortunately, sometimes you have to stand out there and wait. Chief, I'm looking at things that were purchased via the credit card for the police department, and I am seeing that some of them were purchased the first part of January, although it's hard to tell with some of this. They have purchases, unnecessary purchases have stopped, right? Until town meeting?
The only purchases were stuff that was pre-approved for the access control and PD renovations, or office supplies. I just approved those because we needed them just to do business.
Well, we have a computer for the prosecutor and a printer for the prosecutor.
Yeah, I spoke with Tim a while ago. He had nothing. He had a really old laptop that just failed, and so he had no way to do anything.
Oh, it did fail. Okay, that was my next question. Okay. And the polygraph printer?
I believe that was an encumbered.
Right, but all those encumbrances needed to hold on until we had budget approval.
Yeah, I've been talking with Tim before we do any of them, and I know Lieutenant Martin spoke with Tim about.
Yeah, but that was the selectmen's directive.
Oh, yeah.
Don't make any unnecessary purchases until town meeting budget approval.
We have to have that for encumbrances as well?
Every purchase, because when we're in a limbo period from December 31st until budget approval in March. Every single year, only the absolute necessary purchases are done. Critical things, critical needs, payroll, sand for the roads, only absolute necessities, because we really don't have approval
Right.
until that budget is approved in town meeting. Chapter 32 only allows us to make absolute necessary spending or expenses. That's it. No,
I still have a question about money spent from the year prior's budget. That doesn't go against the budget that we're waiting for. They're not voting on those encumbrances, are they?
no, but when those encumbrances were made, our debts from 2010 had not been completed. In other words, we still had outstanding bills that had to be paid. So some of those, so it was an estimated amount that we had for leftovers.
True.
So it appeared that, and I do believe that those encumbrances, especially because we made the car purchase, were more than what we had left over.
Well, Tim would know that, though, right?
Right, but the selectmen said, no unnecessary expenses. And I just wanted to make sure that that was fully understood. And it is a yearly thing.
Right? Okay, getting back to our FYI file. The Belknap County Economic Development Council is having their annual meeting on Thursday, the 29th, 2012, at 4:15 p.m. It's going to be at the inn at Church Landing in Meredith, New Hampshire. They're asking for you to reserve, if you're going to come, to please let them know by March 14th. They will have light refreshments and a cash bar.
Thank you.
We also got a,
Can I interrupt? Who is our member to Belknap County Economic Development Committee? It used to be Norm.
Still is, as far as I know.
yeah, Norm, yes, I believe it is.
We should make sure that he knows about this.
Right. We got this also as an email.
Oh, okay, so
It
he
did
would have
come-
gotten it?
Yes, he would have. Okay, we also have a flyer that came from the blind, and they're going to be having a meeting on May 19th, 2012, the Franklin Opera House in Franklin. It's free admission, and the topic is what the sighted world's perception of vision loss. And if anyone is interested, the brochure will be in here. And we also received this came in our emails. It was from, I think, Johanna sent it on to us. And I'm sad to say, on February 17th, we received a notice of resignation to the zoning board from Foster Peverly. He's put in a lot of years with this town, and he's going to be sorely missed. We have an email here from Pat Constantino. It says, "Hi everyone, recently I spoke with Eric Pyra about serving on the budget committee. He currently serves on the planning board but would love to become more involved in the town. After telling him of the openings, he talked it over with his wife for scheduling and would love to become part of the budget committee. We can, I don't know what she's got there. We can write him in or appoint him after the meeting. I think he would be a great asset to the committee. Thank you, Pat."
It would be the budget committee that would appoint him.
Yes, but we can certainly pass his name on to the budget committee. Okay, this is a notice from the Tilton Northfield Water District users, for the users, just a declaration of candidacy, and filing period is from February 17, 2012 to February 26, 2012. The open positions and terms are Commissioner, 3 years, Treasurer, 3 years, and District Clerk for 3 years. There's going to be oh wait a minute, this is passed. That was already happening, so no sense reading that. Okay, and when's this one? Nope. All right, that's everything in the FYI file. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board? Do you have anything, Jane, that you would like to talk to us about? Any other business? Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we beat feet, adjourn our meeting.
Wow.
Get on down the road.
I think I'd like to second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Sorry.
I had just a couple of questions for the chief, but...
Well, we're not,
Okay.
that's in the discussion part.
Yeah?
Chief, do you currently have, does someone monitor the accrued time that the officers have and that it gets used during the year? So that at the end of the year, we don't have huge lumps of time? And I'm looking at some of it that was, so we're not carrying over, people aren't coming to December and having 4 weeks of vacation they don't know how they're going to take?
Yeah, no, I know that there's some people that just like couple weeks of Christmas, so it looks like they're heavy on paid time off until December. But, yeah, Lieutenant Paulus works with Tim, and they do keep track of it. And
Okay. But, I mean, is there anyone that actually monitors to make sure it's being used in department? In your department, not just Tim?
yeah, I mean, we can't force them to take it yet.
But you could make a suggestion, hey, you're accumulating? Because don't we have a use it or lose it policy?
They can carry over 40.
And Catherine, I don't see a paid time off, an accrual chart for other employees. Position, status, hours. Except for the PD. In the payroll. Maybe it's someplace else? No, I just had it in my mind that this year I pay attention so that we don't have people coming to us in December with huge chunks of time. Because see, we have this, but this is just PD. We should have one for everyone else. No, would you just make a note and ask him? Thank you, okay, I'm done. Okay, yes,
Yes.
And yes.
thank you.
Okay, you need to sign and then put this stuff together.
Look at that, Catherine. This is the record.
Is this the record?
I guess,
I think so.
Oh, hang on a second, we need to turn off the camera.
Hear what he said?
No, I didn't.
Wow, I'm not gonna know what to do.